This is today for me personally a very special occasion to share the stage with somebody who I consider my mentor, my philosopher, my guide, my friend, and my partner. And I think this is a unique moment for me to be able to, and it's probably going to happen only a few times, maybe this is the only time it will ever happen, ask a few pointed questions and get a few direct answers. So that's probably never going to happen again. So I'm going to use my time wisely on that. So first and foremost, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Zubin.
So, we will cut through the chase and start with this. I think let's start with your personal life. You like some water?
Can somebody
get us some water, please?
Hot water? I'm already on the hot seat, and being with a colleague. We're talking about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I really don't know what kind of points he has. We discussed initially what are we going to talk about. He said, whatever we discuss all the time in the office. So, okay, I said, are we going to expose ourselves to that extent? He said, it would be fun. I said, great. So, his first question is personal life. I've had, in our industry, I'm sure with all of you, you'll agree with me, we literally, there's not much under the wraps as far as a hotelier is concerned. We are open to the public eye. Everybody knows probably more than what we think they know about us. So, having said that, I think I'm reasonably a private person. So I see a lot of youngsters here. So for their benefit, from a humble background, my father was a broadcaster, worked for the government of India. And I had a very humble beginning, and my parents desired that I, like every middle class family, you either be a doctor or an engineer. And I actually thought through, and I thought I was not capable to handle that, and I won't succeed. My mom insisted all the time, no, you must pursue that. Somehow I managed to convince my father that, I can't do it. But he said, no, you got to give it to your mom and at least make a try. So I did my pre-medical. But somehow managed, post my pre-medical, to look at other opportunities. And my father agreed with me at that stage. He said, okay, give it a try. I was on a short holiday to Delhi, and with my sister who used to live in Delhi, and I was traveling in a DTC bus, and I saw a big hoarding which said hotel management. The only hotel I had seen in my life was Oberoi Palace in Kashmir. I'm a Kashmiri, so I had seen Oberoi Palace, and I had seen a restaurant, Adus, where my father used to take me. So I said, okay, let me give it a shot. So found my way to Pusa, and I was lucky enough to get through. There was really not much of a competition those days. So I managed to get through to the college. Post my college, if you really ask me, did I know what and how do I plan my career? Honestly, I didn't know. I didn't know. It's honest truth. And, that's how I started. And I was lucky to find my life partner in Pusa. She was in college with me. she ultimately, when I joined the industry, was a lecturer there. And we started off, we have worked till maybe 7-8 years back as a team, husband-wife team. Everywhere, whether I was in ITDC or I was with Radisson, we worked together. I had 2 sons. One is settled in US. He is a finance guy, didn't like hotel management. And the other one is a sports influencer. We live in Delhi. 3 grandkids, 1 daughter, trying to get into cybercrime studies, that's what she wants to do. And I have 2 grandkids here. One is a budding young cricketer. He plays for Delhi Capitals, under 14. And I have a granddaughter who is a ballet dancer.
It's quite in diverse.
Have I exposed myself?
No, you
haven't
haven't.
Too much?
No, you haven't at all. You haven't at all. I was saying it's, your grandchildren have all chosen all careers except being hoteliers. So I want to ask you that question. If you weren't a hotelier, what else would you have been?
As I told you, Zubin, I actually didn't know, but I didn't want to be a doctor because after the first dissection I did of a frog and an earthworm, I said, this is not me. I just can't do it. So I thought if I can't do it, then I should look for something very respectable. My parents would be proud of. I would have gone for civil services if I ever got selected. And 2 things attracted me. The perks they had. And I would have been making all efforts to get in there. I mean, it's a different case whether I would have had the intellect to get into civil services or not.
So they say if you love what you do, you will never work a day in your life. So we'd love to know what was the turning point that made you feel so passionately about hospitality. What's that one thought that keeps you going each day?
My God. I feel passion can only come to you if you love yourself. You got to love yourself first. And once you love yourself, you start finding out what are you good at. And once you know what you are good at, you pursue that. I really don't know at what stage in my life I actually got at a stage when I felt that, I have the required passion. Because I don't know if you remember in early days, at least when I joined the hotel school, I have Mr. Pant here from IHM Pusa. Yeah, when I joined, and we used to go and see Bollywood movies. And please don't misunderstand me, but those days, when they referred or they had any scene where a hotel manager was shown, he used to be part of a mafia or a gangster. So I actually thought, have I chosen the wrong field? But then, when you start succeeding, you start feeling better and better. I really don't know. Had some of you seen Kapil Dev's latest movie, 83?
I think many of us.
Yeah. Okay. He has put it very simply. When he was giving his team and kind of preparing them for the next match, Shrikant asked him, he says, you need to brief the team. He asked his manager, क्या बोलूं? उसने कहा, कुछ तो बोलो, उनको बोलो, सबने हमने मैच जीतना है. He stood up, had a glass of water. Then he said, you know, we have to win this match. And when you taste success, ye tongue mange more. He put it very simply. He said and referred that when you taste success, it's an addiction, it's like a drug. That's the time it becomes a passion, and that's what you follow.
It's lovely. Some lovely advice. So, sir, you've had a career spanning almost 4 decades, 40 years, maybe more. Tell us, for some of us who haven't been here that long, how has the culture changed in our industry from the time when you started off to being with ITDC, to being one of the youngest leaders, youngest general managers, and then went on to hold some very senior positions all at a very young age, to now when our industry has moved 40 years hence and the cultures have changed, the ways of working have changed. What transition have you seen over these last 4 decades?
Zubin, our industry has evolved. As our Honorable Secretary Tourism mentioned, you know, we have come a long way. We have a long way to go. You know, in the first 2 5-year plans after independence, there was no allocation or any reference to the word tourism. That's where we actually started. In the next 3 5-year plans, again no reference to tourism. The only thing what was referred was foreign exchange earnings. It was implied hotels are involved and have the capability of earning foreign exchange. So we got mentioned here and there, but it was only after that everybody in the government, in the private sector, realized the value of tourism. We had some hotels from the British past, you know, at some locations, some, you know, gateway cities or isolated places which are not so isolated now. I mean, we have hotels in Varanasi and Kachru and such places. So we didn't have a regulated, structured hospitality industry at all. In 60s, ITDC, you mentioned ITDC was formed. And the main task of ITDC was to help, facilitate, develop tourism. Ultimately, the role was not for them to run hotels or do the business they did after for a long time. So ITDC entered and they did their bit. They established, I think, 40 odd destinations and developed hotels. And nobody would have gone to places like Mahabalipuram or Hassan and, you know, places like that. But they did. It was only in 80s when Asian Games, non-aligned summit and Chogam took place, which actually changed the course of thinking and being international. I think the first hotel which was built, and I was fortunate to be the general manager of that hotel, was built for Antar in 50s. And I believe, the story goes that when Pandit Nehru asked Mr. Maulana Azad, who was those days looking after the concerned ministry, and he had invited different countries to participate in Antar, he asked him where would they stay. He said Western Court and some other places. He said no. That's the day the first hotel, and Ashok Hotel with 586 rooms was built. We have come from that stage. That's how we have evolved. With NAM, Chogam and Asian Games, private sector was invited and they built hotels. Many international companies came. A lot of Asian eyes actually invested in hotel business. And I think that is how we have evolved over the years.
Do you think the DNA of the Indian hospitality industry, where we pride ourselves as being guest focused and more hospitable, so perhaps compared to the West, was set in those days, in the 1980s and the 1990s?
I wouldn't say. Indians are by nature very hospitable. We have always believed in one thing, that we have to give something extra, that warmth, which has been there all the time. It's getting more and more refined and focused on what a customer wants, what needs to be given, and what is not really necessary.
So, sir, you introduced Radisson Hotel Group to India. It was 25 years ago. Next year, we celebrate 25 years of a beautiful journey. And in these 25 years, we have gone from our first hotel, the Radisson Blue in Mahipalpur at Delhi Airport, to over 150. So, what do you think is or has been the core values that have contributed to this success of Radisson Hotels in India?
Zubin, I'll give a little longer answer to this.
Indeed.
Because where both of us are here today, it's because of that company.
Indeed.
At the end of the day. And I'm really happy the way you are carrying forward and what you are delivering and how you are delivering the promise is making us what we are. I think one of the reasons we succeeded was understanding the market. We were misunderstood initially that we are too flexible. But our message to the market always was very, very clear that we have to understand the ground realities of the market. We cannot always go by the book. I'll give you a simple example. When we signed our first hotel, I have the area GM here, Ashwini, from that hotel. We started that hotel and we started selling a Radisson in India. It may sound funny to you, but when I used to go with my toolbox and giving presentations about Radisson, some of the investors used to tell me, Radisson, Radisson was not known. We had no hotel in India. This was the first hotel. Our corporate office told us, brand X or brand Y has big boxes, 400 rooms, 500 rooms, 300 rooms. That's what we belong to. We're very strong in America and Europe. We need to establish in the similar manner. It was our team in India. I was ably supported by a very dedicated team, even at that time. I've been very fortunate that way that I somehow managed to get a great team. They do a fantastic work and I become a face of it. So, we signed our first hotel and then we started getting opportunities in towns which today we call them B cities, C cities, tier 2, 3 towns. And everybody, including our competition, we have leaders from various groups here, they know it very well. They said, I think you've gone mad. you are accepting hotels which are 100 rooms, 120 rooms, 60 rooms. I said, if a place, I'll give you a small example. If a place like Jalandhar, those days, the whole of Punjab had no branded hotel. Forget branded hotel, there was no decent accommodation available in the whole state. We were toying with this idea, but the first offer came from the city of Jalandhar, as I was telling, and it was a 60-odd, close to 70-room hotel, very savvy owner. He said, this is the maximum FSI I can get, and this is what you can get. I had a lot of opposition because you can't make money out of very small boxes. But we as a company looked at it two ways. One, we got an opportunity to go to a place where there was nobody else. At the same time, the brand visibility of this in the target markets would be big. So we did this hotel. It was a success from very first day, and I'm proud to say we'll soon have 20 operating hotels in Punjab, just in Punjab. Another example is Delhi. Same problem when we were signing this hotel, and we were told we should sign an area of protection so that we should be allowed to do more hotels. Even I must confess, I thought maybe we'll do another 2 or 3 hotels in Delhi. I mean, even my vision was restricted at that time because of the ground realities. Construction material used to come on donkeys those days, you can imagine. So this new area, we made this hotel. We divided the whole of NCR into districts. And my friends, you'll be surprised, we don't have very, very big boxes in the city, but we currently operate 24 hotels just in NCR.
That's about 4,000 rooms.
So it's the question of your vision, clarity of vision, set your objectives right, define them right, but execute them. Because a vision without proper execution is hallucination. So that's what, Zubin, I feel has helped us being where we are today.
That's great. And so we've also often, many a time, spoken about stakeholders. And now we are on a new journey now, having achieved what we would like to believe significant scale. But I think this has been the ethos of the company from very first day. And we call it stakeholder excellence. And it is about our owners and our owner partners. We as a company today have almost 300 owners who have been our partners. We have a renewal rate of almost 100%. And now many of our new hotels are coming from our existing partners. So,
absolutely.
Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, you know, you made a very good point. We have, although we have close to 170 hotels, we have over 300 partners. And we are not in the investment business. We are in branding and managing. So managing 300 odd owners and feeling their pain, you cannot actually grow, particularly in South Asia, unless you understand what hand-holding means, what it means to feel their pain. You know your objective is fine, but they are the people who are signing the check. So unless you feel for their money, you cannot grow. You cannot play on somebody else's money. No experiments. As long as you feel that you will grow and you will continue to grow. I'm so blessed that Zubin and his team have created that kind of a structure that we will have a very smooth flow. And if I have to make an estimate, we should look at 400-500 hotels
Yes.
in this region.
Indeed. Thank you, sir, for guiding us. We will follow the same principles that you said. I will change track a little bit. We have 4 minutes and 17 seconds left now, so I'm going to change it a little bit. So over the years, you have perhaps been a mentor to most of the people in this room, many of us here. And over the years, you've had mentors yourself, and you've also had mentees who have done exceedingly well. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your mentors and your mentees?
You know, I'm a senior citizen, but you're really given me that feeling that, you are, I hope you're not saying you're passé, So, no, I've been very fortunate that I was able to take away good things from people under whom I worked. I have had many mentors. It started, Zubin, with my first college principal, Mr. J.P. Sharma, who unfortunately is no more. I mean, he gave me my initial, skills to be a leader. I was the president of the Students' Association of Pusa, and he allowed me to do things which nobody else would have allowed me to do things. So that gave me a little tongue mange more, So I started. I have had Mr. Kadok, Mr. S.N. Kadok, who was chief of hotels for ITC. I'm sure a lot of people know him. He was my immediate boss. If you allow me, if we can convince Bhunesh for 1 or 2 minutes more extra, I'll tell you how small things can change your thinking. I was a management trainee, and I was asked to go and clean Mr. Kadok's room. He had his residence in the hotel. So from housekeeping, I went to clean his room. I had another guy with me who was cleaning. I was dusting his cupboards. I opened his bedroom cupboard. It had 50 odd suits with matching ties, matching shirts, and dozens of shoes. I said, I'd never seen something like that, Zubin. So it actually gave me a feeling, how important it is to bring your personality, your grooming in this business. These are some of the basics we have to learn from early age. There were people like him. Then I had Mr. Rajan Jetli, who was our managing director, and then later as managing director of Air India. He contributed a lot to my life. He actually made me into an entrepreneur. So he taught me human values, and real governance was taught to me by yet the two bosses, Mr. S.K. Mishra, who was our tourism secretary, and Mr. P.K. Goswami, who was our Director General Tourism. Mr. Mishra stood by me in good and bad times, and he understood how a professional reacts at times. He was considered a very short-tempered person. In fact, people used to call him Suspension Kumar Mishra. He was very short-tempered. I mean, anybody did something wrong, he used to tell him, "Isko suspend kar do," So, but actual way of governance was taught to me by him. So in the same manner, I have had mentees, innumerable. Some of them have done very well. And I'm happy to say some of the people who have worked with me are now CEOs, MDs of national and international companies in India and all over the globe. I think that's what gives me most satisfaction. People who have worked, they have been entrepreneurs who have, whose worth is in thousands of crores today. And it makes me so happy to see people doing well.
Thank you, sir. And personally, I feel blessed as well to have you as my mentor. So
thank you, Zubin. Thank you. I'm actually happy if I have somebody like you who is taking the baton forward and making things happen, and not only vision, but executing the right policies.
We do it together, sir, as always. So, sir, I think time's up, but like I said, this conversation can go on for hours and hours, as we do, when we are in our offices, and, I always tell Mr. Kachru, there's so much I can learn, and so much we discuss every day, and, we've been doing it for the last 7 years now. So, there's a lot of history, and good learnings. But I think all good things must come to an end, and so must this conversation as well. I'll leave with one last question, sir. What is...
Pardon?
I'm saying all good things must come to an end,
Yeah,
so does this conversation.
Absolutely.
But I want to ask you one last question on the panel here, which is, what's your advice for the next generation of hoteliers?
It would be no different to what I personally followed, and which I tell everybody. Have your vision absolutely clear. Set your objectives, understanding them properly, and execute them well. I mean, there are other verticals attached to it, whether it is hard work, self-belief. These are all part of the same thing.
Thank you, sir. And you know what? Stay humble and stay focused is what I've learned from you. So,
Absolutely.
So thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We had a great session, a lot of insights here, and I wish we are able to accomplish our collective dream of stakeholder excellence and taking our current enterprise to 400 hotels very soon.
Thank you, Zubin. I think what we owe collectively to the industry is it's time to give back, and we have so many leaders here. I would urge all of you to really ensure and structure yourselves in a manner that you feel obligated to the industry in actually creating more leaders. Thank you so much.
Thank you.